I want to talk about something that I rarely hear people really addressing in the Christian world, the church world. We've got folks like Dave Ramsey and people like that address these types of things. But I want to talk about some things that you probably did not learn about in school. They didn't teach you about this in school unless you took a specialized program or maybe post elementary and grade school. And I know I'm getting that term wrong, but if you're in college or whatever, or some type of a institute learning these things, you probably did not learn about these things. And I'm talking about financial IQ, financial literacy, financial history. And the two classes that you probably opted out, if they were not required classes, you probably opted out of these classes. There's a lot of history buffs out there, a lot of people that love to study history. There's a quote out there that says, "Those that do not know their history are doomed to repeat it." So if you don't know what happened before, you're subject to reenact the same things. And most times those things are not the positive and good things that will forward your life, forward who you are. So we're talking about it now. We're talking about financial literacy. What is your financial IQ? How much do you know about history and about money? Two classes you probably tried to skip out on, and I'm gonna be honest with you. And thank the Lord that I'm redeemed and I'm saved. But in high school, I did not do good in these classes because I just mentally checked out. And one class was U.S. history. And while, some of those things were interesting, it just wasn't of interest to me. It wasn't something that was proven to be trending and something that I would really want to know about and use in my life and my future. And very much so, it is something that you need and something that you will use in your future. If you're, most of this audience that tunes into our content here are millennials, young adults, and even middle-aged, some of the more seasoned and mature crowd. But for those that might be in high school right now and they're watching this, I really want to encourage you to pay attention in U.S. history. Don't opt out from your economics class. These are two things that you will need. Learning about your U.S. government, learning about how it works, learning about the facets of what makes our country tick, and the governing structures that are instituted, not just on a national level, but in a state level, maybe on a county level, a local level, in your local city. These are things that you need to pay attention to. And these are some things that me as a teenager, I checked out. I didn't want to really pay attention to those things. I didn't think they were of interest to me, or that I would even need any of those things in my life. However, they always say hindsight is 20/20. So if I can encourage any student right now, pay attention to and go all in U.S. history and economics, the two things that will highly affect you in your adulthood. So most people that went to a public school, it was not required of you to learn financial literacy or financial history, as in what money really is, what value really is, what is a budget, what is a national GDP, What are these things that most definitely plays a part into how we prosper individually? Now, for those of you that maybe have taken a class in high school, let me know in the comments if you took some classes in high school that taught some of these things, and you were well versed in how to perceive wealth, and money, and financial literacy. Leave some feedback. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you got to say. Also, most people that do not know their U.S. history or financial history, or don't have a vast financial IQ, most people tend to go into this debt cycle. And while some may have a great career and a great paying job with great income, you still find yourself living from paycheck to paycheck. What's up with that? What's up with that? And don't feel bad, because most people aren't required to learn about these things while they're in school. And this financial education should be a required subject. You should know, you should learn how to manage what you earn and allow it to work for you, and allow those funds and monetary gains that you get through whether side jobs or your regular paycheck, whatever. You should know how to manage that. You should know how to give good credit, get good credit. You should know how to manage your credit. You should know how to leverage your credit in order to expand assets. Now, there are some people that are well into their adulthood that don't even get the concept or understand the concept of liabilities and assets, and what that means to you, and how that affects your well-being, not just in the present, but for the future and for your children. And so this is something that we need to definitely educate ourselves on. How does the world work as it pertains to my finances? And if you just think it's, well, I'll just get a job, I'll earn a paycheck, and I'll spend the money on my living expenses and some things that I may want, or things that I may need, that is not just the sum total. You're just existing. You're not really prospering. You're just existing. And for those of you that have had financial education, please let us know in the comments what that looked like. How did you get that financial education? Did you get it in grade school? Did you get it in a graduate situation, or did you get it in your undergrad? Did you have to go and take a private course? Did you follow some guru online how to manage certain things? Let us know in the comments what that looked like. Now, why is Pastor Rima talking about financial literacy? Here's why. In the ministry of Jesus addressed the issue of money a vast amount of times in his preaching and earthly ministry, and how it affects us, how our money affects us. I put out a quote several months ago, said, if you don't know how to control your money will control you. If you don't know how to control your money will control you. And so it is very spiritual and Christian to have financial education and literacy. What are you doing with the increase that God has allowed you to gain through the life and energy that he's giving you on a daily basis? What are you doing with it? This is increase that it's not just because you're smart. It's not just because you got a ton of degrees behind your name and a bunch of suffixes behind your name that you are able to pull in a certain income, or because of your, entrepreneurial prowess. God is allowing you to gain the things that you're gaining. So what are you doing with what God has allowed you to gain? And maybe this is a subject, a topic that ministers need to address a little bit more in their congregations, in their churches. And, as a minister and as a pastor, we tend to teach on biblical mandates and methods of stewardship and giving. But we can't just tell people to be faithful in their giving to God if they don't know how to manage what they have to be good stewards. So then you got people, there's two types of givers in church. You got those that don't give because they think they can't afford to give. You got more than two types. You got those that give because they think they can't afford to give. Those that give because they think they can't afford not to give. And then you got those that give, but they really can't afford to give because they haven't managed their increase. They haven't managed their increase. So I want to encourage you to educate yourself on how to prosper financially. And yes, there are biblical principles to govern that. There are biblical principles to help you to govern your financial life and what you do with your money. If you show me what you do with your money, I can show you who you really are. What a person does with their finances, with their increase, I can show you who you really are. And so let's begin to educate ourselves regarding some things, because we would pay more attention to what our elected officials are doing with the concept of value and wealth if we were educated on value and wealth. So educate yourselves, because I spoke about this a while back when the stimulus started rolling out and people were excited. It was like another bonus for their tax refund. They take it and do whatever. But there's something to be said about what that stimulus really means for your future. What does that mean for your future? And some of us, we don't know. We don't care. We just feel like, man, I got $1,200 from the government going on an Amazon shopping spree. Well, that might suit you well now, and you might feel good about what you're doing now. But when you realize in the future that you are adding to a momentum that is building, that's working against you, all those depreciable assets are not going to matter in the future. So, long story short, educate yourself on biblical principles of not just giving, but concepts of wealth and money. And maybe I'll try to do a series like that, talking about financial literacy. If you think I should do a series on biblical principles of financial education and literacy, and also adding some just good old common sense regarding money. If you think I should do a series on that, send us a message. Let us know what you think. God bless you.